All right, I just want to do a quick video on this project I'm working on, which is the Toymaker 3D's Devastator in 112. I decided to do one portion of it just to see how big it's going to be. I don't know how tall it's going to be yet. I'm guessing about 5 feet tall. I have no idea where I'm going to store it. So without further ado, I'll show you the right arm that I printed out. And this thing is massive. I mean, it is pretty much just as long from fingertips to shoulder as big as mine, and I'm 6'2". So just wanted to show you this. That's gonna be ridiculous.
That's a big damn transformer. Anyway, I'm Robo. This here's the rewind. While we're talking about Transformers, yes, there are new pictures of the Yolopark Transformers AMK Pro Series Optimus Prime model kit. Hey, if they keep posting them, I'm gonna keep talking about them. It's a vicious circle. This week's update consisted of don't roll out without Megatron. Grab both bots now for double joy. And isn't that what it's all about? Not just joy, but double joy. Double joy. Okay, I know we've already seen the Jada Toys Ultra Street Fighter 2 M. Bison and Dhalsim at several shows. I think at least several shows, have I? What I don't know is if we've seen the new pretty promo shots that came with this week's pre-orders. Seems like we've seen package shots before, or am I just remembering this very clever packaging scheme? The design itself, the arcade? Or maybe we saw the studio shots with all the accessories included. I don't know. That's the perk of forgetfulness. I get to go into a lot of things as a blank slate. It's like I just get to rediscover everything all over again, and you're just along for the ride, watching this asshole on the internet just toys. M. Bison comes with an alternate angrier head. I was gonna say angry head, but you look at the other one and he's always angry because to him, it was a Tuesday. Then there's another set of shoulder pads that you can swap out for an uncaped look, along with more hands and an energy effect. Dhalsim comes with a swappable yelling head, open hands, and then stretched out limbs. Again, my memory is absolutely terrible, but did we know that those elongated arms and legs were actually bendable? Because look at this picture. He's all tied up like a pretzel. Now that I think about it, did we know? Were we told that? And that's even worse. If you don't show me pictures, it doesn't lock in, and even that's iffy at times. The whole point is, I don't know Street Fighter, so the information doesn't really seep in as much as other lines that I do collect hardcore, even though I am buying this line because they're just good damn action figures, and sometimes that's all you need. Just good damn action figures. I am seeing some reviews pop up of M. Bison and Dhalsim hitting targets, I think, but for the rest of us, well, that may trickle out over the next several months, but most of us may have to wait till summertime. I've seen this creeping around my socials for the past couple weeks, but Kaiyodo has finally announced that their Revoltech Expansion Pack Volume 1 will be going up for pre-order next week. Not a huge deal here. It's a couple of rifles, a couple of sets of pistols, a couple of sets of pistols for the included holsters, and then effect pieces. We see this a lot from third parties these days. It's neat to see it from one of the big companies in an official capacity, which is probably why this is being offered for $13 at today's exchange rate. Keep that in mind. Hell, shipping it from overseas may be more expensive than that, depending on which carrier you use. So if you have an amazing Yamaguchi figure that's missing its weapons for whatever reason, or you just want to spruce up another action figure in the display, here you go. Speaking of that, this week we had kind of a surprise when Big Bad Toy Store posted up their exclusive Mezco 1/12 Collective Ghost Rider. First glance, it's just the regular version in brighter colors, but the more you look, the more you realize that yes, that is the case for the most part, but when it comes to Ghost Rider himself, there are some changes. Ghost Rider's riding gear is different. In the first release that is just now getting out there, is it shipping yet? I don't know, I didn't pre-order that one. But there, it was a more modern, realistic leather getup. For the Big Bad Toy Store exclusive, it's more of a classic costume look. It's still riding, it's collar, flap, all the stuff that you maybe think of when you think of comic book motorcycle riders, but in much brighter colors and less detail to the costume itself. This harkens back to the early days of the character, or at least that's how I remember them. The motorcycle has the front fender removed that we saw that was all mean looking and modern on that, and replaces it with a headlight. Or the first motorcycle is just covering the headlight. Swappable, I don't know. Again, the headlight gives it an old school feel. Otherwise, the rest of the accessories are the same. The hands, the flames, the effects, until you get to the bottom of the last picture. In the description on BBTS's page, it does list 2 Hellfire weapons, but in the pics, this is the only place that the 2 shotguns show up. On top of that, it's just silhouettes, and they don't even label them underneath like the rest of the accessories. So I don't know if this is a, ooh, we're sneaking it in there. It's been a while since we've talked about the whole DC not allowing trigger weapons with their action figures that are marketed towards kids, even though most of these top action figures are bought by adults these days. Was that a thing for Marvel? I don't remember, but maybe they're just playing it safe and just, oh, and these, don't pay no attention to these right here. But it's nice those are included because Johnny did use Hellfire shotguns at points, although I usually remember him as just Johnny Blaze with the shotgun. Either way, still cool. And now I feel like I told on him. It's like, oh, it comes. So, these aren't the guns you're looking for. We saw the Hasbro Marvel Legends Fantastic Four Spider-Man and Wolverine 2-pack revealed at a fan stream a month or 2 back, but like other things in this rewind, this week pre-orders went up. That means new pretty promotional pictures. Not a lot to say about them. It's Peter and Logan in some very clean, very snazzy blue and black costumes. At first there was dust up because it looked like Spider-Man got all the accessories. You know, all the accessories that we usually ask for when a Spider-Man figure is released. We need all those hands with all the Spideys. But then poor Logan was left out in the cold with nothing but his clawed hands and a big mask. Turns out those accessories can be shared between the 2 figures because of size, I guess, and the fact that you can't use that many hands on this many figures at the same time. That the math just doesn't work out. So if you have Spider-Man with wall crawlers, you can put the fists on Wolverine for fisticuffs. I mean, I get it. It should have probably come with unmasked heads, some web lines, and now that I say it out loud, all the reuse that is here, that would have been neat. Add a little value to it. But at the same time, it's also 2 super popular characters in costumes they wore for a blink of an eye. So there's a balance there. They probably weighed the projected sales against how much money to put into the pack itself. Although you put more money into a pack, it probably boosts the sales, but that's not a guarantee. Oh, collectors. Me, I'm still trying to get past the fact that they each have individual logos instead of 4s. I don't know why that throws my brain so much, but at the same time, I really love the lack of web lines and tiger stripes on the costumes. Like I said a minute ago, clean, snazzy. And it makes me look for a Hulk and a Ghost Rider, even though these 2 are meant to go with the Franklin and Valeria pack that's already out. I mean, even my brother, who is primarily a Masters of the Universe collector, texted me and said, I may have to pick these up because they do look good. And there's something to be said for that. I already went over all the Black Series reveals from this week's Hasbro Star Wars fan stream. You can click up here if I remember to put it up there. Or, you know, go down and click and subscribe and enable that bell notification. Nah. So I'm just going to do a quick recap to get to some of the things that they revealed afterwards. Holocom Darth Maul. Cool concept. I haven't bought any of these, but if I were to get one, it would probably be Maul. It works more as a 1/1 scale prop, which may be what they're doing, but if it works, it works. I would get this and just be like, Darth Maul. That's a terrible, terrible impression. We'll just leave that there. Next, there was 5 figures from the Acolyte that are up for pre-order right now. Some people thought I was bagging on these because I said I have no attachment to these whatsoever, that I'm more excited about these as custom fodder. Why would I have any attachment? To me, they're just random Jedis at this point in time. The trailer dropped this week. It was like, okay, maybe I'm interested in the figures. From what I understand, the show was pushed back, so why wouldn't Hasbro be ahead of the curve here? And we're always griping about, well, this show's out, why don't they have any figures? Hasbro. Then they do it, and I'm all, well, I don't know if I like these because no. I'm sure in time that I will probably get these because they're Jedi. Why wouldn't I? I'll find a way to enjoy toys. And if I don't, I'll pass by and find something else. I'm not going to sit here and go, how dare they? Darth Maul. It didn't help that I was way more interested in the pipeline reveals either, which is terrible because you never know when they're going to come out, when they're going to get revealed, when they're going to go up for pre-order. Yeah. Dedra is a good get for your Andor shelf. Imperial Armored Commando is a great design that I've been wanting in figure form. And Bandai's been teasing for years, or okay, maybe not that long, but a while now, Hasbro's going to beat them to the punch, and I'm okay with that. Give me the Trooper. Ahsoka the White knocks that custom off my to-do list. Comic Yoda and Commander Gree has me curious as to how much new sculpt is involved here. Is it going to be a new prequel Yoda? I don't know. But the tippy top of the mountain for me was Captain Enoch and Night Trooper 2-pack. At first I thought it was another army builder pack that missed the mark, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized that the Night Troopers all have individual looks when it comes to ribbon placement and damage. So I'm buying this just for Enoch because he is a complete badass looking trooper, and then the Night Trooper, and then hope for a single release for a different looking Night Trooper. And then hopefully another one and another one, or some way to change it up, or I'll customize something. I'm definitely in for one of these packs. And I thought that was it for Imperial March. Like I said in the recap, I didn't catch that until way too late. I had to think about it way too long. Imperial March, because it's March. But then yesterday Amazon posted up their exclusive Masters of Evil, which is a terrible name.
Only a master of evil does.
Well, okay, there's that, but I think of Masters of Evil and I picture Baron Zemo or Titania or the Wrecking Crew, not Darth Vader, Grand Admiral Thrawn, or this version of General Grievous. As far as I can tell, this is complete reuse. Now, Thrawn does use parts from a figure that is up for pre-order right now that hasn't been released yet. So reuse is a strong term, but it is, technically. It is odd that they throw the Salamiri around his neck. That originally came with the heir to the Empire Luke Skywalker in the fancy box. Am I missing something? Am I forgetting that he used it in Rebels or Ahsoka somewhere? It's just thrown in there because, as an extra. Darth Vader, I think, is reuse. I'm gonna be honest, I've stopped keeping track of all the Darth Vaders that's come out in Black Series. There's too many where they've just swapped out parts or new sculpt, but it's very similar to the sculpt that came out before, or they added butterfly joints or more articulation in the neck. They have so many bodies to pull from now. I couldn't tell you. It's just a good-looking Darth Vader. And to reiterate my thoughts on General Grievous that I've spouted out more than a few times before, this is a terrible figure. I do not like it. Maybe it's because the Bandai model kit came out before and it's much better proportioned and detailed than to put it in the cartoon colors instead of battle damaged or realistic like the other two. If they're doing this with General Grievous, why not give us the Rebels version or the Heir to the Empire version of Thrawn to go along with it? Wouldn't that make more sense? They went realistic with Thrawn. They went realistic with Vader. They went not so realistic with Grievous. So as far as I know, complete reuse. It's there if you don't have any of these characters, but if you do, it's easy enough to pass on by because it's Amazon exclusive. Its existence does not affect us in the least. It's there. Same goes for the Walmart exclusive Mercenary Balin Skull, which unfortunately looks to be a reissue of the first version, just with a hooded cloak. I will admit, that does look good. It is a little see-through, but it lays nicely, and it fits his form. It accentuates, it enhances. But if you have that first Balin Skull and you've tried to stand him against other figures, it's way too short. This would have been a perfect opportunity, even as a Walmart exclusive, to fix that in some way. Now, to fix everything, it would require a whole new figure. Wider shoulders, longer legs, better ingredients. I've already made that joke this week. But as a lot of people have proven online, just adding longer thighs helps tremendously. And is that damn lightsaber blade red again? Come on. Now, I already bought the first one. I already fixed it. I'm pretty happy with it. Because I expected this. We all expected this, right? There's a cloak version. There is a different look from the show. If they release that, they're just going to reuse the first body. This is not a surprise, but it still sucks. If you don't have a Balin, you have a decision to make. How much work you want to involve in getting that character on your shelf. Or not at all. That's where we're at. This happens more often than not. I post the rewind to Patreon on Friday, and then sometime from there, until it goes live on YouTube on Saturday, McFarlane Toys will release some kind of tidbit for DC Multiverse. It never fails. Last week it was the Moody shot for Kryptonite Doomsday. And then solicitation came around this week, there's more to look at. So it kind of worked out, where I was just like, oh, look at this initial shot of Kryptonite Doomsday, it sure is neat, and then come back around to here and talk about it in length. So I can't really complain. It's when he drops a whole wave that weekend that I'm like, come on, wah! This reuses a lot of parts from the last Doomsday, even though it is a different character. I had to go read that, that's the reason for the new head. That changes it up a little, but it's the bright green spikes that just spices it up. Next was the Arkham Knight Prestige Suit Batman, which is really just a repaint of the first Arkham Knight Batman. Makes sense though, that's how it works in the game. You have lots of costume options that you get to pick, and this is one of them. I think. It's been a long time since I played that game. And while the added colors make the whole thing pop, it also brings attention to details that I didn't realize were on the first suit. So maybe it's a good thing that Batman moves away from that boring old black and gray. Bleh. Batman, get a new look, sheesh. Finally, there's my favorite of the bunch, which may not, and is probably not everyone else's. This is the, oh man, McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Gold Label McFarlane Toys Store exclusive Kingdom Come Armored Batman Patina Edition. It's just a good-looking design made into a good-looking action figure with a good-looking paint scheme. It's statuesque. And it's not until now that I realized that the jetpack is very similar to the Rocketeers. Mostly because I just did a deep dive on the Rocketeer for a figure review a couple of weeks ago, but also, like we were just talking about, the lighter colors brings attention to details that are lost in a black and gray figure. This repaint may be simple. It may be silly to some people, but it's an exclusive to McFarlane's toy store, so it's not hurting a soul. It's there for people like me who are very tempted to get it and put it in the yard for some reason. That's looks like where it should go. It's spent all the time before it was manufactured out in the sun and the rain and the elements. Maybe it does need to go on my porch swing or up on the railing of my deck or something. It looks like it would be right at home there. And in that aspect, I love it. I can't help it. Mattel Creations couldn't help themselves and also did a live stream this week revealing some new Masters of the Universe product. I know this is weird, but I'm not going to talk about Origins proper. I've got to draw a line somewhere. I know they're only slightly smaller than Cartoon Collection, and technically Cartoon Collection is part of Origins, but they're different enough for me to go, oh, well, I don't know what's come out before with Origins. I'm way behind. Don't know. Robo don't know Origins. The Cartoon Collection and the rest are newer. I was there for the beginning of Masterverse. The Turtle stuff is fresh and new. That's what I'm going to talk about. Of course, in the time that I've explained this, I could have talked about the Origins ones, but poke poke. A guy's got to have standards, principles, beliefs. For Masterverse, there was this sweet, sweet Horde Trooper. Good gravy. What a big hunk of simulated metal plastic. Does that make sense? It made sense in my head before it came out of my mouth. I've always loved this design, and it is awesome to see it interpreted into the Masterverse style. Interesting to see an organic head under the helmet though. I always assumed they were robots, or at least that's how I remember them, but there was that captain guy, right, that did wear the armor, so maybe. But New Eternia does integrate elements of the brainstorming stages before they were made into action figures back in the day, so maybe it's part of that. Or maybe I missed something. Maybe I don't know something. I am opening myself to a whole heaping helping of actuallys today, ain't I? Mattel also flashed up Masterverse Revolution Emperor Hordak and Snake Sorceress Tila on their stories. But we're going to get a better look at those next week when the fall catalog drops. You know where my heart lies, though, when it comes to Masters of the Universe. It is squarely within the Cartoon Collection, and there We got glimpses of Filmation Evil Lyn during the live stream. It was in a diorama where they were just kinda, oh yeah, we're doing cartoon collection. Pay no attention to the new figures behind me. This does reuse a lot of Teela, which is appropriate because 1, they were similar in the show, and 2, that's what happened in the original vintage line and most action figure lines since then. So there's a precedent there. Also in that diorama was Prince Adam and Cringer, and these are the ones that just reach out and grab me. Abracadabra. Reach out and grab you. Again, Filmation is my MOTU. It's my go-to. So Prince Adam is bought, but I did not expect an articulated Cringer. It's very similar to the Classics version, but it can move. So that just makes it way more dynamic and tempting. It shot to the top of my wish list. Finally, as far as glimpses go, they also showed the Masters of the Universe X Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Michelangelo and Skeletor. I think we had seen the artwork for these in the comics or on packaging or something. But to actually see Michelangelo with the hair, complete shock. In a fun way. I know it split the internet. Oh my, what? That better be, yeah, to me it's glorious. It looks amazing. Skeletor, though, falls into Beastman territory, where it just looks like that character raided Shredder's closet and threw on some samurai gear. Here we go. Yeah. It's neat, but not as inspired as the mashup top figures, like He-Mangelo. I will not get over Michelangelo with hair. It looks so wrong, but oh so right. That segues nicely into just a little update for the Playmates Toys original sketch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We already saw the official reveal for these a couple of weeks back, or at least one picture, and it just took us back to simpler days when TMNT were black and white doodles. This week it seems someone found these out in the wild or in a back room somewhere, and that gives us a look at the packaging and the contents. Each one comes with a broken tube of mutagen, which works really well with the included base that I didn't even realize when we saw the original shot. Going back to that, you can see the seam lines. It is quartered to fit within the packages. But seeing the turtles like this in neutral stances, it has me pondering. 1, the shape of the turtles themselves doesn't really lend itself to articulation, but it seems Playmates gave it their best shot. They look good just standing there or in poses. 2, I've never noticed that Leo is the only one that has knee pads in that picture, and then Raph has a sword slung behind him. Nice attention to details when it comes to the figures. I mean, Michelangelo even comes with a box to stand up higher than the rest of the turtles. 3, and this one's obvious, they come in their vintage toy skin tones and the individual bandana colors that came later, so there's a lot of reuse potential here. There's gonna be a black and white edition down the road, right? Because that's what matches the sketch the best. But then they could also do all red bandanas and matching greens. Maybe alternate heads for that other sketch that floats around where the mask comes down onto the nose, although I have seen rumblings of NECA's original sketch turtles kind of gravitating towards that look. Bottom line, it's great to see Playmates giving us something new and original, even though they're known for milking a mold to death. But in this case, I may be in for a few. But I'm also hearing that these are going to be out at Target, so we'll see. And maybe this, and then black and white is somewhere else, and then different versions to different stores, or general retail, or online. Give me one. I at least want one. And that's all I have for this week. I know there's stuff coming out right now. We'll swing back around next week. If you're interested in seeing more of the big-ass 3D printed Transformers, I have links to One Oak Customs and Toymaker 3D in the description. They're doing the Lord's work. Because, man, to have actual 1/12 scale Transformers, that's the dream. I thought I was getting those with the MAS, but they stopped at Optimus Prime and Megatron, and those were a more realistic style. To have them in actual cartoon looks, whew, that's gotta be a lot of resin though, but totally worth it. As always, as you've seen scrolling here, special thanks to the Patreon, the wind beneath my wings. I'm slowly getting to the point where I just post pictures there. I haven't been putting a lot on Twitter, or X, or whatever it's called, or Instagram, or Facebook. In fact, I'm almost to the point where it's just like, maybe I should deactivate some of my accounts in places. Except YouTube and Patreon. But we'll see. I don't know. That's how I feel today. Tomorrow may be a different day. Actually, technically, tomorrow will be a different day. That's how time works. We talk about time a lot here, don't we? Because it's just going by too fast. I feel like I'm getting more and more old man, which is a natural progression because I'm getting more and more old man. But also in the way, it was so long ago, things back in the day. But when it comes to toys, I don't really feel that way. I don't feel like they were better back in the day. I feel like they've been getting better and better and better and better, at least what I want out of action figures. I'm finding myself getting more and more nostalgic. No, easy. I've always been nostalgic for things from my childhood. But for other things, like when Toys R Us closed, I was just kind of, well, I don't buy a lot there anyway. Bye. But now that we're this far along, I long for the days of walking into a store that's specifically for toys and seeing things and Hastings and next channel change will be Robo reminisces. Sits in a rocker on the porch. Well, I remember how things used to be. I don't know. That's not my accent. Why would I change my own accent? And why am I still rocking? Bah. The overall shape of the turtles. One